with everyone.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Scott. So great stuff, guys. Like totally. Okay. So this is a fun segment. Uh, it's called Never Have I Ever. I think you know the game. Okay. So we'll use the thumbs up or thumbs down, okay, to express your answers. And here comes the question. These are some really super serious and intense questions. Okay. So never have I ever broken the staff copy machine. Okay, you have. Everyone has. Great, 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 great. Okay. Anyone wants to tell about it? Rose?
Not forever, just like a little bit, like sometimes I would be able to fix it afterwards and sometimes I wouldn't. So then that's what happened.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
got it or I don't.
Terence, you don't admit it.
Yeah, I mean, when there's always a couple of teachers who are like on a warpath and going around, and I mean, I have a couple of teachers in mind who are like, who's the one who broke it? But like, when you are approaching anyone that aggressively, who's gonna be like, it was me, right? So I'm just sitting there at my desk and I'm like, oops.
Yeah, that is true. Okay. Uh, the next one. Never have I ever used social media in the classroom.
So this is use social media with your students as part of your classroom, or like,
Or like for personal use.
oh,
It's for personal use. I'm saying. Like you checked your phones, maybe Instagram. Or... You did? Okay, Christy. Yeah. Anika?
Yeah, definitely not while I'm teaching, but like, if there's like a little sneaky moment where they're working on things, I might take a peek.
Okay.
That's something I'm trying to do less. I don't love doing that in the classroom.
Okay. Rose?
Oh, I was just moving my hair. I haven't done that because my students would be like, can I see? They like think it's their business. So I just don't have that boundary with my kids. I can't do that. But does YouTube count? Because I use a YouTube channel for my music teaching and my kids love it. They try to follow me sometimes, and I've turned comments off because I feel like that could be an unsafe space, but I wish that it could be something, but that's
it's more like scrolling YouTube shorts. This question was aimed at that.
No, yeah, no. Anika said something about building community with technology earlier, which I would have liked to talk more about because that's very important and the kids love that. So, but no.
Okay.
Nope.
Cool. That's some dedication. Okay. Never have I ever Googled answers to my students' questions. Happened?
All the time.
Okay. Like, is it right at the moment? Like, do you do that?
Yeah, if they ask me something, we're gonna find out together. That's like research. You want them to know that skill too, right?
Okay.
First graders want to know now. They want to know now. There's no, when you say I'll check it later, I have 27 Post-it notes that remind me that I said I was going to do it. So I have to do it timely. Everything is timely for me, for sure.
Got it. Acceptable. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's also like modeling for kids that you don't have all the answers all the time, and it's totally okay to not know something. And just like Rose said, like the joy of let's figure it out together. Let's figure out how to find the answers.
That was actually a good approach. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we can't know everything. That Google is a tool and a resource. So
Right. And we'll add ChatGPT to the list for this one. Yep. Okay. Next question. Never have I ever projected something inadvertently on my laptop that I didn't intend to. Terence, a yes, definitely. Okay. And Anika, a yes. Okay. Rose, Christy, everyone's a yes for this one. Okay. How was the experience? So, Christy, what happened in this one?
Vacation pics really quickly went up. Yeah, but I took them down pretty quickly. I know that I am a teacher who has a life outside of work, but like anything, like if I see kids and I'm drinking at a restaurant and locally, or I'm always like, oh, you know. So it was me on the beach with a drink, and then I was like, whoop, 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 and then we just talked about what beach it was. They were like, where was that? And it was fine.
These were elementary kids?
What?
Sorry? These were elementary school kids?
They were my first graders. Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
first graders.
It was a
Cool.
screensaver that came up. So
I get it.
They don't judge you. They love you. They want to know everything
Versus
about
us.
you. Yeah.
yeah, so it was fine.
Got it. So I accidentally once displayed the answers to a quiz before conducting it. So that was very embarrassing. Yeah. So, okay.
I love that.
We had to scrap all those questions off and had to do it immediately again, afresh. Okay. Last one. Never ever came into the classroom unprepared. Okay. So Terence is a yes, Christy a yes, Rose. Okay, Anika has not done that.
I'm just too anxious. I'm too much of a planner that like the thought of coming in with something makes me like unprepared, kind of makes me break out in hives. I get too nervous.
Okay. Get it. Yeah. Okay. So one question from my side. Did any of you like get this feeling of getting prepared for today's event?
Just looked at the questions a little, but like, I mean, that's what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. I get it. But there was no anxiety related to this one, right?
I think for me, it's age probably. Like Annika said that she would feel anxious. That would have been me probably the first 10 years of my career. But as you get older, you know what you're doing. It's not a matter of being unprepared, Terrence. I don't know if you think the same thing, but it's more of you don't have it written down in details, but you've got the plan in your head. And with first grade, there's so much variance in what can happen in the day that my best laid plans, probably for you with older kids, they work, but my best laid plans don't usually work because I've got somebody's crying, somebody, did this, there's a recess drama. So like I have to be more flexible. And so sometimes when I have the big plan in my head, it's still okay to be, quote, kind of unprepared, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a similar case. In my first year of teaching, or when I was a student teacher, like we had the time to do these, like we had time to set aside to do lesson planning, and I think that was super like useful because when I came to my second or third or fourth year of teaching, we didn't have time to actually plan our classes. There wasn't a lot of unstructured time to do that. So there was this joke between me and my colleagues that we do like 7-step lesson planning. It's the 7 steps that we take to go to the classroom where we're thinking about what to teach. Yeah. So that's what we would do. But I think it's also what like similar to what Christy said. You have the broad idea, but that's only after you've taught the material once and you know like the broad stages to teach it, and then you kind of make these adjustments on the fly. Coupled with the experience that if you plan things down to every fine-grained detail, it's like the best laid plans of mice and men are not gonna, like it's not gonna go the way you plan it. So a combination of those things, kind of like forced me to go in without being totally planned.
Okay. These 7 steps are gonna go down in history. Yeah.
I hope my former principals are not hearing this, but yeah.
Okay, guys. This was great fun. Yeah. So thanks, Scott, for this segment. And I'll hand it over to you now. Yeah.
Okay, here we go, everyone. Part 2. Let's dig in. Next question for everyone is this. As you know, next week coming up is Teacher Appreciation Week. How have you celebrated this in the past? How do you expect your week to turn out for you? Anything special for Teacher Appreciation Week?
My school, it's PTO that does it. So like in the district, it's nothing district wide, it's more like individual schools.
Mhm.
And they do it right, because Monday this week is we ordered coffee from a local coffee place, and they're delivering it on a cart to our classroom. Tuesday is a lunch from, I think, Chick-fil-A. Wednesday is breakfast and pastries and like breakfast type things. Thursday, each kid is bringing a flower to their teacher to make a big bouquet, and they have thank you cards for us. And then Friday, they're going to have raffles for like gift cards, and they're like $10 to Starbucks, $10 to whatever. And so I am very appreciated at the elementary level. Because my children, my last child is in high school, I always get each teacher a gift card because my daughter's mortified usually. But high school teachers to me don't get the same love that we do at elementary or middle school teachers. And I think it's important to acknowledge them, and especially the ones who have helped my children personally. Those who, even though my daughter is a straight A student and she does great, I want them to know that I care about what they're doing. I go to conferences still. And so elementary teachers, that's where we're showered with love. I believe, because I teach little ones and they love me, and there's nothing like, I'm a rock star to them and I feel it every day. But middle and high school teachers, my colleagues, I don't think do. So I make sure that they know that if their school's not doing anything, that me as a parent is doing something for them. So
Very cool. How about everyone else? Anything for Teacher Appreciation Week next week?
I didn't really like grow up seeing that when I was a kid. Like, I feel like when I've started my career as a teacher, I'm like, oh, Teacher Appreciation Week is a thing. So it's really cool. I definitely feel appreciated. Like Christy said, our PTO is kind of in charge of it. They did a catered lunch for us this Thursday. So we already celebrated our week. It just ended, but it's still the same question. But I also do feel like the community does see me as a rock star and definitely gives me a lot of like love, like whenever they interact with me. So, you know, anything I can do for them, I will, and I definitely feel appreciated.
That's awesome.
By the community, though. You know, I think it's also standardized testing time right now. So the kids are stressed and the teachers are stressed. So, I mean, and standardized testing is something that I saw growing up as a kid. So the message is kind of clear already where the importance is. And even though I am appreciated in my individual community, and I know that, that's not really what's going on here. There's more to it.
Got it. Thanks, Rose. All right. Anyone else? Or are we going to move on? Okay.
Well, I'm not celebrating
Go ahead,
Teachers
Paris.
Appreciation Week, but I just thought it was small. In Singapore, we have Teachers Day, and that's on the 1st of September every year. And it's not the Parents Association or the PTG who actually organizes it. It's a committee of teachers called the Staff Welfare Committee, and it was always kind of weird to me that the Staff Welfare Committee made out of teachers are organizing Teachers Day. So they would organize like a dinner at a hotel with a dinner and dance kind of thing. But that always stood a little weird to me, that it's teachers organizing Teachers Day. Yeah, but that's just me.
Awesome.
I
Thanks,
could
Terrence.
jump in and add a little bit too. I'm this year, since I'm not in the most traditional teaching environment, not so much of the usual wonderful lunch situations, but in the past, every school I've worked at, there's been either a wonderful teacher's lunch or, you know, the sweet notes from kids. For me, that's like the best gift ever. I have a whole folder that I just save with all the notes from students. And yeah, I wanted to give a shout out actually to my current organization, the current folks that I work with. My company where I'm working remotely, They're called Banyan Global Learning. They're wonderful. And I don't really feel a strong need for Teacher Appreciation Week because it's teacher appreciation all the time. They do so much awesome stuff to really make us feel valued, appreciated, supported. And I think in the digital learning space, that's such a hard thing to do, right? It's so hard, again, to build that strong, supportive
Yeah.
community. It's totally possible. And they are just superstars at that. So I really appreciate them appreciating me, and it goes back and forth. So
It's awesome.
I want to say you're so lucky for that, because like it's your company and the people that you work for that appreciating you. For me, it's more my clients, because the students are my clients and their families. But like, when it comes to the organization piece, that isn't really happening for us. Like Rose was saying, and the broader community, as well as admin. It'll be Teacher Appreciation Week, but we will be, hey, Christy, I know you haven't had your special this week, but we need you to cover recess. Or it'll be, hey, Christy, I know it's a Teacher Appreciation Week, but so-and-so, didn't show up today, so you lose your assessment day. So there is the love from my students every day. There's the love from the parents, but I think once you go broader, I would love to feel that love like you do from the company that you serve and work for. So you are so lucky for that. That's awesome.
True that. Yeah.
All right, next question, everyone. Have you ever felt a fear, hesitation, or inhibition when it comes to adapting to and accepting the fast-paced changes in technology at the moment? And how have you managed to adapt with those changes?
all right, I want to bring up the elephant in the room, the Chat GPT elephant. I feel like what I've been seeing and hearing is a lot of fear and anxiety about this tool. And I felt similarly at first. I was like, oh my gosh, students are going to use this to write their essays, plagiarism, wrong information, scary, scary, bad, right? But then I started exploring ChatGPT myself and playing around with it a little bit. And I realized what a powerful tool it is. And my supervisor, or our CEO at Banyan, has a podcast. And he was talking about this on his podcast and was thinking about it, in the same way that you think about every tool, right? Sure, a hammer can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing with the hammer, right? But if you train people on how to use the hammer, if you make it clear what the hammer can be used for and what it can't be used for, then it's a fantastic resource. And so that's been my new approach to ChatGPT. Is it's a great tool for brainstorming. It's a great tool to get started. I actually used it recently for a final assignment. I promise I didn't cheat, professors, if you're listening. But I was having trouble getting started writing a lesson plan. And I was like, gosh, where do I want to go? So I had it create a lesson plan outline for me. And that really helped me get started. So, okay, this idea is great. This idea doesn't work. So let me start using some of these ideas to get the ball rolling. But I think that's like the big thing that I'm seeing as kind of this area of fear and anxiety is, how is AI scary and bad? And I'm hoping that there can be this broader shift towards, how can AI help us, and how can we help our students and ourselves learn the limitations and boundaries with using this tool?
Awesome.
Pretty wholesome.
Sure.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with Annika, because unfortunately for my district right now, we are having a school board, like it's unprecedented. We have a very ultra conservative school board right now that we are massively struggling with many issues, social issues, anything you can think of right now. And this is something that, just like anything that's new, people will have fear. And for me, it's more like, okay, what parameters can be in place for, like plagiarism, and, do colleges have this in place? And like at our high school right now, they're having some issues, and I don't really know how they're rectifying it, because my daughter hasn't been in those experiences, but I know that it trickles down, and then it's like, in elementary, you need to blah, 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 and make sure you're doing this. So it's like, I'm trying to balance my creative freedom with a very totalitarian type school board right now, first time ever in my entire career, to be honest with you. So I am trying to learn myself to figure out, because I'm educated, and what are the downfalls, what are the safety parameters in place, what am I doing if it's in my classroom, and how do parents feel, and that sort of thing. So I would say AI would be the thing that for me is the hot topic right now, and trying to balance how I feel about it with how they're putting structure on us for things. And maybe you guys can help with that, your thoughts on it, Terrence, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe I'll just chime in. I think what Anika said, right, about ChatGPT as a co-pilot. Well, not to have a shameless plug, but that's something that Eddy and Amika has been thinking about also. So in Singapore, we've done a couple of training sessions with teachers, like professional development sessions, on the use of generative AI in the classroom, and how teachers can use it first, and how teachers can support their students to use it. And I recall being in a conversation with some history teachers, right, about how they've used it to effectively get students to think about how historical point of view can be so you can ask ChatGPT to write a history essay in the style of like John Lewis Gaddis, right, who is a famous historian. So write a essay about topic X in the style of a historian who's never engaged with the topic, right? And then they can look at it, critique it. So there are different ideas, and I think this is still an evolving field. Yeah, so it's exciting. I think everyone's trying to navigate it. And then anyone who says that this is definitely the way to go for AI, or the way to use AI in a classroom, and is so sure about themselves, part of my French, I would call bullshit on that, right? I don't think that's like, I don't think the dust has settled on anything of that. So I would be skeptical of someone who's like very certain about how to use AI, just because I've seen a lot of that on LinkedIn. In terms of fear, hesitation, and inhibition, this again is few years ago, and it's maybe, yeah, it's nothing AI related, because this was a few years back, but something as rudimentary as I don't know if you guys have used this before. There's a and this is used when they are filming your classes, and I was having someone film one of my classes. We have this pendant that you wear around your neck, and then it's connected by Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to an iPad at the back, and the iPad will track you as you move around the classroom, right? I think it's called the swivel, right? The swivel. And I recall that when I was wearing it, my fear was that it wouldn't be able to capture what I was talking, or it would completely like go off tangent, and it wouldn't capture me accurately. But after that, it turned out fine. So I think a lot of it was in me, and the worry that, even though I've planned so much, something is still gonna screw up, right? And I didn't know exactly what could happen. I didn't know exactly when it would happen, and it speaks to this. I think as teachers, a lot of us, especially when you just start out, you want to be able to control, you want to be able to know the parameters of what could happen in your classroom. But I think this is what Christy also mentioned earlier, right? I think as you maybe grow in your practice a little bit, you realize that, oh well, even though things may screw up a little, but it's not gonna screw up so badly, right? You're flexible when you're teaching, you're okay to adapting on the fly, you're okay to come into the classroom without knowing the technology completely and how it's working, and trying to work it out with your students is part of the fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else on this one?
I just think that kids are eager to see, what can happen in the classroom, and they want to know the possibilities of everything that works well and doesn't work well. So going through your flaws with them isn't a bad thing with technology. And I just think that being open to exploring is great. I think that I think Christy was talking about this a little bit, but I was up. But I just think that sometimes administration is slow to embrace technology, like because they don't know the parameters either. And we're worried about our students' safety. So privacy and gathering data while we use all these tools is something that we don't want to, like, you know, have happen to our students. We want it to be active, if anything, if it does happen, if they fully understand the technology and they fully make the choice to, you know, consent or whatever the technology is doing to learn about them, they should be learning that much about it at the same time. It should be like an equal, reciprocal kind of relationship between the kids and the people and the technology. Like that's how it could ethically be done well, which I think it should be, because everybody, that's good for everybody. If it's ethical and it goes both ways, you know, everyone's going to learn and it'll be good for us.
Awesome. Thanks so much on your feedback with this one, everyone. And this is actually going to segue very nicely into this next question. So this next question is this: how encouraging, adaptive, flexible is the school administration in general when it comes to upskilling their teachers in terms of technology, pedagogy, and professional development? Is there a need for a shift in the mindset of the leadership? Okay, let me ask that. Let me put that out one more time because it's a little bit of a longer question. How encouraging, adaptive, flexible is the school administration in general when it comes to upskilling their teachers in terms of technology, pedagogy, and professional development? And is there a need to shift in the mindset of the leadership? It's a little bit longer. Okay, go ahead.
My tech department is incredible. Like I would put our tech people against anybody anywhere. We have tech teachers who go out to the schools. We have the tech support people. Like the head of tech for the entire district is one of my good friends. He is very hands-on. He loves new things. He always takes on new learning. He's, you know, we are supported from the tech people. They are extremely supportive. Now you go outside of the tech department, we have admin that are, like Rose said, very apprehensive. They are not as supportive sometimes. But everything was okay for me until the last year and two of our local school board. We are a very innovative and a diverse district. I have one of the largest districts, probably the top 5 in the district, I think, or something, or in the Central Ohio. And we are extremely diverse. We talk about preparing our children for the 21st century, you know, preparing for tomorrow. We say all the right things, but sometimes right now, when it comes down to it, we're fighting for that creative freedom again, because we are starting to see where we have new curriculums being placed that are very, like Annika said, prescripted and told, like, this is what I do when I do it. We have, you know, it's been a scary time for me, and it's been the first time in my entire career where I've thought about actually leaving the public school system framework to do something else, because I feel like my creative freedom for the first time is actually being squelched. So I'm nervous because there's many things that I see coming down the pipe for us that make me like very concerned, because they're checking our books now. They're checking, you know, Ohio is not needing to follow the Florida, you know, pipeline of, you know, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And that sort of thing. So I'm starting to be more fearful than I used to. And I'm very disappointed because we serve so many diverse learners. Most of my students are Somali. I teach a high population of EL students. I'm very good at that. It's my love. It's where half of my career has been spent. And even though Hilliard has, you know, the haves and the have-nots, we are very diverse when it comes to all of our buildings. We have some that are, you know, more diverse than others, but I feel like, you know, some of the things being placed is not good for our EL families either, because, you know, we're not thinking of their needs and we're not thinking of, you know, what's best for them. So I've never felt more in a quandary with what you just said with, you know, how is technology being supported? To me, it's like, how is everything being supported right now? So I'm feeling confident with my skills. I'm feeling confident with our teachers, but I'm afraid things are starting to close in a little bit and start to be, I used to shut my door, I say, and now things are in my room and I can't shut the door. So I'm getting a little scared for the first time. And it's hard because I've been a teacher for 27 years, but you know, I know different. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at in Ohio right now.
Okay, who's next then to share?
That was excellent. I was wondering when the question was asked, like, whose mindset in leadership needs to change, because like a lot of the times our administration, they were once teachers too, like they know what it's like and they have high goals for our kids, otherwise they wouldn't be in positions of administration. But our institution is not supported and there's lots of things that are causing problems in our classrooms, political problems in our communities that are even outside of our community. Even safety is an issue. We just got a message that was one of those, like, I forget the word, but it's like one of those fake messages about like violent threats for our school community. So, I mean, if that's happening, where is the trust between educational leadership and technological leadership? Because these are not tools that educators created, and there's no accountability there because it's literally violence, and our kids are literally seeing violence play out in every industry, not just education and technology, but like there's no accountability because there's literal violence happening. So yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share on this one? Okay, let's go to this last question then. This is the last question of our roundtable. The last question is, and think about it, chalk and board, white, not having technology as opposed to 100% digital. Where do you think education, what do you think education is going to look like 10 years from now? More digital, less digital? What would you want it to look like 10 years from now? How do you think things are going to continue to evolve over the next few years?
I can jump in on this one. I think personally, I kind of fell into the e-learning space, partially out of necessity, partially out of curiosity, right? I was looking for something that I could do while I was in grad school to help support me and my partner as we navigate, you know, this time in grad school where I was able to work a little bit less. My partner is also not from the United States, and so having the flexibility of teaching online and knowing that, you know, when my partner and I would like to be, you know, in his home country of Costa Rica, you know, it's a huge gift to me. And so I think when I think about e-learning and the future of e-learning, I think it opens up this freedom and flexibility, not only for myself as an educator, but for young people. I think about how many kids have now all of these broader opportunities for learning digitally, maybe outside of the traditional classroom space. I think of, as Christy and Rose have shared, unfortunately here in the United States, schools are a really fraught and difficult place. And they also are not always meeting the needs of our learners. And, you know, I live that as a student here in the United States. I live that teaching here in the United States. And I think there is this really exciting possibility of accessible, free, or reasonably priced, low cost e-learning that young people can have either as a supplement or their full time. Like, this works for me because, you know, as much as we all kind of saw the struggles of teaching online, for some students, they're like, this is awesome. Like, this works a lot better for me. It helps me with my social anxiety. I get more one-on-one time with my teacher when we speak in breakout rooms, or, we redid our schedule to think about how do we meet more learners' needs. And so I really think there is going to be this future of hybridity or even fully remote learning that is continuing to grow. As I've been in my own process of job searching, when I've seen, compared to 5 years ago, the amount of online schools, the amount of online tutoring, the amount of online college coaching, at a much more accessible level than I've ever seen before. It's out there, it's happening. And so for me, I think that's actually a really exciting thing. It means that young people all around the world have access to opportunities that might not have been present for them before. I mean, even thinking about my job currently in Taiwan, the Banyan has been around for about 15 years now, but thinking about what we could do now versus what they could do, I think in 2006 or 2007 when they started, is really cool and really exciting. So I definitely think there's a significant future of digital learning, digital schools, and hybridity in education.
Awesome. Next, who would like to go?
I definitely agree, and I'm excited by the hybridity aspect of what you're saying. But Christy, you go first, because I just wanted to say that was a good point.
I wanted to piggyback on that too. When you would have asked me 10 years ago what I would have said about the next 10 years, I couldn't have predicted this. Like, I am mind blown because the pandemic just changed everything. And so, for me to predict now, I don't even know if I could, if that makes sense. Now, if you asked me the question where I predict I will be as a teacher in 10 years, that's quite different because I don't know. I thought I knew. I thought I had everything mapped out and planned for myself. I was going to teach in a suburb. I was going to live close to my university that is very important to our family. I love the little ones, but I don't know if that is sustainable for me anymore. It's hard because I love being in person in front of them because it fills my bucket, if that makes sense. Like, they give me joy, they give me love. So it's not just the teaching, it's what I get from them. So can I see myself going online and foregoing that? I don't know. Or do I see myself taking a role that is still part of, being a teacher and kids, but just being in a different role? That's something that I never, ever would have thought, I would be. But because education has changed so much, I have to be willing to be flexible and grow and change. And Annika, like, when I was doing online, it was hard for me as a first grade teacher, but maybe for other grades, it's not as hard. Or, when I was teaching adults, I didn't have this format, so it was more difficult. But if I had this format, maybe teaching adults again is where, it was a love for me. So I feel like the technology and the teaching in the next 10 years is so broad and so great that I don't know how to predict it. I never thought I'd be talking with someone in Singapore or, anywhere around the United States about, you value what I have to say. And, I get a little teary when I think about it because it's been a while since someone's like, what do you think? For a while we've been shut down. So I don't know where it's going to be. I think it's exciting. I'm willing to change and grow. But I'm not willing to be stifled, and I'm not willing to, like Terrence said, do something I don't feel that I support and or feel like is a part of who I am. I'm not willing to do that. So I think that there's lots of opportunities. I'm not just stuck with the United States thinking or, the people around me. I've got a global community, and like, I can't believe I'm 50 years old and I feel like I can get so much better now. And I'm a learner. I'm not just done. I'm, I have my master's degree and I have that. Well, that doesn't mean I'm finished. I need to learn from you young teachers you know, the new things, and then I can provide other ways to supplement you. But having that support over the next 10 years, I don't know what that's going to look like. It's scary sometimes, but it's also exciting because I hope it goes the right way. I hope it goes the right way.
Awesome.
I would like to say something on Christy's answer. So, Christy, you remember the first time we talked? It was this point. You said that, you know, it feels really good that my opinion is being valued. It was this statement, it was this idea that led us to this event. You know, I conceptualized it at that right at that point that this is what is needed. We need to listen to teachers. It's high time that you guys are on the front line. You guys are on the driving seat. Yep, totally. So was there. So kudos to you. Yeah, more power.
Awesome. All right. Anyone else want to share with this one?
I'm just going to add that I think Christy sort of touched on this idea of being an educator for a long time. Like, if people work in a different industry and they're listening to this webinar, it's just like, to be in a classroom from the perspective of a teacher, you are with maybe 30 kids, let's say, just as an example, but they are your responsibility for that time that you have them. They are looking to you for leadership in everything of what to do, setting an example of how to behave, setting an example of what to be learning on, what to be focusing on, what to believe in, where to set your sights. Like, you are the leader. And I think we don't want this idea of a leader to become antiquated as the education industry continues to evolve. If kids have social anxiety and they need to have hybrid learning and more individualized practice, we need leaders that have that individual touch in everything that they do, whether it's in person or hybrid. But we need leaders that really care about people and that know how to guide them, because that's what teachers do every day. That is the reason why we prepare our lessons, because we want to be prepared for that moment where they're looking to us for guidance and they don't understand. And we are the person that does. Do we know everything? No. Do we make like corny mistakes in class? Yeah, but that's not what's really going on. Like, we are the person who's handling it, you know, all. And they need that in every industry. I know that every industry really needs the leadership, because I don't think that adults feel any different as kids. You know, like, we all want respect, we all want to learn, we all want to better ourselves. Like, but that's why teaching is kind of like a little microcosm of the world, because like, that's what's happening, you know. So I just think that as all the developments keep happening in education, we need strong leadership.
Awesome. Well, this was really insightful and a lot of great ideas from everyone. I think this is, I mean, really great discussion to talk about technology, where we were, where we are, where we're going with it. And I guess what I'll do to kind of wrap things up here is to see, does anyone have any final comments from the group before we end? And I'll just kind of have an open forum here at the end.
I just want to thank people.
Oh, Chris.
Thank you. I just want.
No, I just wanted to quickly. I just want to thank all Rose, Christy, and Annika for being so vulnerable. I mean, I think Annika mentioned it also, but when we conceptualized this roundtable, I mean, the focus was about technology, but I think what came through so powerfully here was the idea that the profession of teaching, regardless of how technology affects it, the profession of teaching itself is something that you can't that cannot afford to get lost as technology kind of influences it. And that's kind of like my takeaway, right? I think when we're organizing, we're so fixated on technology, but I think this is a great reminder, right? To whoever's watching this, that in as much as, you know, what Eddy's doing, you know, working to bring innovative technology for teachers, the idea of the teaching profession is something that you should not be eroded, right? Because of teachers like you guys, and because of every single teacher out there, whether they're in the US or working other countries, right? We have we should be very conscious about how their profession is evolving, and I guess keep that in the back of our minds, and try to do the best for them as they can.
Yeah, I think I definitely, oh my gosh, huge thanks to everyone. I've learned so much and so appreciate this like really thoughtful range of perspectives. But yeah, my kind of final point comes back to that idea of a tool, right? Tools are only as strong as their users, right? And as educators, technology is our tool. It is a source of power, but it's only that source of power if we are supported on how to use it appropriately. And so kind of coming back to that broader story of, you know, the power of the profession of education and the challenge within it, I hope that my dream for the future that I think you guys seem to all share is that, you know, we can be supported to use these tools to make learning a better space for ourselves and for our students. So that's my dream for the future, and I'm grateful to meet other folks, I think, with similar mindsets and similar dreams. Yes, little hearts. Okay, lots of love. Seriously, you guys are incredible. So thank you.
Teachers are going to get
Awesome.
more and more powerful from here. Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks again so much, everyone. I'm sorry, anyone, Terrence, you had something you wanted to add?
Before we go, can we take a quick photo? I'll just ask everybody to look at the camera, and then I'll take a quick screen grab.
Sure.
Okay, smile, 1, 2. Okay, awesome. Thanks. That's all.
Okay, guys. So
Hey everyone, this is Terrence, Product Manager here at Eddy, the Educator's Buddy. If you like what you just saw, be sure to hit like, share, subscribe for more content. We'll see you guys soon.